The story begins in the towering, eerie mountains of where even the silence feels like it's screaming. Rick and Haley, an adventurous couple, are enjoying a mountain climb. Rick reaches the top quickly and, teasing her with a grin, says, "You'll never beat me." Haley smiles, but the climb isn't easy for her. When Rick finally looks around from the top, his expression slowly changes. All he sees is a dense, endless forest. No people, no sound, just pure silence. Feeling uneasy, he looks down and calls out, "Hurry up, you need to see this view." Haley starts climbing up, but suddenly, her foot slips. Now she's hanging on the edge of death. Panicking, she screams, "Rick! Rick, help me!" But there's no answer, just silence. Then, Rick's lifeless body suddenly drops near the edge of the cliff. Haley's eyes widen in horror. Before she can process anything, warm drops of blood fall onto her face. And then, an unseen force lifts Rick's body and throws it into the deep gorge. Her scream gets stuck in her throat. Now she understands. She's not alone. Desperate to survive, she starts climbing down using the rope. But suddenly, she feels something pulling her from above. Her heart nearly stops. Gathering her last bit of courage, she cuts the rope. She falls straight down, landing near Rick's dead body. She's about to break down when the bushes nearby start rustling. Someone is there, and it's moving toward her. Terrified, Haley runs toward her car. But luck isn't on her side. Her foot gets tangled in barbed wire. She crashes to the ground. As she tries to get up, a horrifying hand grabs her and drags her into the darkness. And in that moment, one thing becomes clear. The rumors were true. Something lives in these forests. Something that has abandoned humanity. Cannibals who hunt every human that enters their territory. Now enters Chris. Chris is driving to an important job interview, one that could change his career. But on the highway, traffic comes to a complete standstill. He learns that a chemical truck has overturned ahead, and the road will be blocked for hours. Frustrated, Chris doesn't have time to wait. He turns his car around and starts searching for another route. As he drives deeper into the mountains, his phone loses signal. Now he's completely cut off. Looking for help, he stops at an old gas station. The place itself feels wrong. Broken cars, dust, silence. Inside, there's an old man who doesn't speak, only gestures toward a broken phone. Chris gets irritated. Then he notices an old map hanging on the wall. It shows a dirt road cutting through the forest and reconnecting to the main highway. Without thinking much, Chris takes that route. After a while, the road splits into two. He pauses for a moment, then chooses the denser forest path, hoping for a shortcut. That is his biggest mistake. Suddenly, a dead deer appears in the middle of the road. Chris gets distracted, and then, crash. His car slams into another vehicle parked ahead. As the smoke clears, Chris steps out. He's unharmed. But the other car has a group of students who are traveling together. Chris apologizes immediately and offers to pay for the damage. But one question keeps circling in his mind. Why was their car stopped in the middle of the road? Did they see something? Or did they feel something that is now slowly closing in on all of them? Will Chris and the students make it out of this nightmare alive? Or will they become the next victims of the ruthless cannibals lurking in the forest? After the crash, as the dust slowly settles in the air, Chris notices a girl standing in front of him, Jessie. Jessie looks shaken, but there's a firmness in her voice. She looks straight at Chris and says, "This wasn't an accident." Chris frowns, confused. "What do you mean?" Jessie points toward the tire. Tires don't just blow out like that. There were barbed wires laid across the road. Someone did this on purpose. For a moment, everyone goes silent. Now it's clear. Someone wanted to stop them on this deserted road. Chris checks his car, and his face drops. "My car's done too, we're not going anywhere." Jessie suddenly remembers something. That gas station, there might be a phone. Chris cuts her off immediately. Useless. The phone there is already dead. Now they have no options left. After a heavy silence, Chris says quietly, "We'll have to go on foot. Maybe we'll find help ahead." They all look at each other. Fear is written all over their faces, but no one refuses. For safety, they leave Evan and Francine behind, near the cars, to guard their belongings. The rest head into the forest. As they go deeper, the atmosphere grows stranger. Suddenly, Jessie notices something on the ground. A crushed mongoose. It looks like it was brutally stomped to death. Chris's brows tighten. A little further ahead, they find a pile of burning tires. Now Chris understands. We've entered someone's territory. Back near the cars, Francine and Evan are alone. Silence surrounds them, but their heartbeats are so loud it feels like they might burst out of their chests. Then, a strange noise comes from the bushes. Evan becomes alert. He tells Francine, "Stay in the car, I'll check it out." She tries to stop him, but Evan disappears into the dark woods. Time passes, but he doesn't return. Fear grows unbearable. Finally, Francine gathers the courage to go look for him. After just a few steps, she finds Evan's shoe lying on the ground. Her heart sinks. And then, she sees it. A severed ear, covered in blood. It's wearing the same earring. Francine's breath stops. She knows It's Evan. Tears in her eyes, terror in her chest. She turns around, only to find a shadow standing right behind her. And in the next moment, it's over. Meanwhile, Chris and the others reach an old house deep in the woods. Outside, there are dozens of abandoned cars, as if they're waiting or serving as the last trace of those who never made it back. Chris whispers, something's wrong, but the hope of finding help pushes them inside. The door creaks open, and what's inside feels like a nightmare. Rotten food on the table, filth everywhere, and a stench in the air. While searching the place, they find dozens of keys. Jesse says quietly, these must belong to people who never left. Everyone's throat goes dry. Then, Chris opens the fridge and lets out a horrified scream. Inside, human body parts are stored in glass jars. In the bathroom, a decaying corpse lies in the bathtub. Now there's no doubt left. Chris whispers, this isn't a house. It's a slaughterhouse. They even find the same barbed wires, the ones used to puncture their tires. Suddenly, they hear the sound of an engine outside. Everyone freezes. Jesse's voice trembles. They're back. There's no way out now. The back door is locked, and death is coming from the front. In panic, they hide. Under beds, inside closets. The door opens. Heavy footsteps echo, and then they enter. In their hands is Francine's body. Tears fill Jesse's eyes, but she can't make a sound. The cannibals, their faces barely human, more like living shadows, place Francine's body on the table and begin cutting into it. The scene is so horrifying, Jesse is about to scream, but Chris quickly covers her mouth. Their breathing is sharp, their hearts pounding violently. After some time, the monsters finish eating, grow sluggish, and slowly fall asleep. Silence fills the room again. Chris whispers, now this is our chance. One by one, they carefully step out of their hiding spots. Every step could take them closer to life, or straight to death. Holding their breath, making no sound, they try to escape that living hell. Will they make it out of that house without making a sound? Or will the sleeping demons wake up? As they try to escape that hellish house, luck finally runs out for Chris. Just a slight noise, and one of the cannibals opens his eyes. In an instant, everything changes. No more hiding. The hunt has begun. Chris whispers, run, now! And the very next second, everyone bolts toward the forest, running for their lives. Behind them, engines roar. Those monsters are chasing them in their vehicles. As they run, they stumble into a strange place. All around them, broken, rusted, abandoned cars, like a graveyard of vehicles. Chris frantically tries one car after another. Come on, please start. But nothing works. Every single car is dead. Then, voices echo from all directions. They're surrounded and makes a dangerous decision. I'll distract them. You guys get a car and get out of here. Jesse snaps. Are you crazy? Chris gives a faint smile. Someone has to do it. Without another word, he runs off in the opposite direction, shouting. The cannibals shift their attention toward him. But then, bang, a gunshot tears through the air and hits Chris in the leg. He screams in pain and collapses. Now, death is just steps away. Then, Carly steps forward. He runs in another direction, yelling loudly. Over here! Come get me! The cannibals turn toward him, seizing the moment. Jesse and Natasha drag the injured Chris toward a car. By sheer luck, it starts. The engine roars, and hope flickers back to life. They drive off searching for Carly. Soon, they spot him running. Jesse shouts, hurry, Carly! Hope lights up their eyes. But then, whoosh! A poisoned arrow slices through the air and pierces straight through Carly's chest. He stops. Slowly, he collapses. Everything ends in a single moment. Inside the car, silence takes over. Tears fill Natasha's eyes. Jesse is frozen in shock, but a rain of arrows forces them to move. Chris grits his teeth. We have to go. Now. With heavy hearts, they drive on, but the road betrays them again. A massive fallen tree blocks the path ahead. They can't go any further. Now, they have to continue on foot. The sun is setting. Darkness slowly consumes the forest. Every sound, every shadow feels more terrifying. Then, Natasha looks up. Look! A tall wooden watchtower. Their last hope. They quickly climb up. At the top, they find a first aid kit and an old radio. Natasha quickly bandages Chris's wound. Through the pain, Chris grabs the radio. Hello, can anyone hear me? We need help. A few seconds of silence. Then suddenly, a voice responds. Help might actually be coming. But that same voice has reached the cannibals below. Movement begins beneath the tower. They start climbing. Chris blocks the ladder. Don't let them come up, but the monsters change tactics. Below, they start a fire. Within moments, flames and smoke engulf the tower. Jesse panics. We're going to burn alive. Chris looks around, then makes a call. There's only one way. We jump to that tree, one by one. They leap from the burning tower, grabbing onto the branches of a nearby tree. Below, the fire rages, but the danger isn't over. One of the cannibals climbs up after them, fast, almost like an animal. Now the chase continues, across the branches. As they move, Natasha falls behind. The monster catches her. Her final scream echoes in Chris and Jesse's ears. But stopping now means death. Something changes in Chris. The fear is gone, replaced by anger. He realizes running won't be enough. He grabs a thick branch, pulls it back, and waits. As the cannibal gets closer, Chris releases it. Crack! The branch snaps forward like a whip, smashing into the creature's face. It loses balance and falls. Hundreds of feet down, the two remaining cannibals below see this and lose control. Their eyes burn with rage. This is no longer a hunt, it's revenge. Will Chris and Jesse escape this deadly trap, or will the cannibals' fury bury them alive? After Natasha's death, Chris and Jesse somehow manage to escape through the trees and reach a waterfall. They're exhausted, broken, and they spend the entire night there, awake, under the shadow of fear. Every rustle makes their hearts jump. Every sound feels like they're back. But with the first light of morning, they spot a road in the distance. Hope. Maybe it's finally over. They quickly head toward the highway, but relief doesn't come easy. Suddenly, a shadow emerges from the bushes. A cannibal. It lunges straight at Chris. He loses balance and rolls down the slope. Helpless, he looks up. The creature is dragging Jesse away. She screams, "Chris!" But he can't do anything. Then, he spots something in the distance. A police car. Hope. Again, the call he made on the radio last night. Chris gathers all his strength and runs toward it. A police officer steps out. "Hey, what's going on here?" Whoosh! An arrow slices through the air, piercing straight through his eye. He drops instantly. The rescuer becomes the victim. Now Chris has no options left. He rushes to grab the keys, but the cannibal is right behind him. No time. Chris quickly slides under the vehicle, clinging tightly to the metal chassis, holding his breath, completely still. He doesn't even realize he's heading right back into that nightmare. The vehicle stops, and there it is again. The same house of horrors. Inside, Jesse is chained up, helpless. In front of her, the cannibals are cutting up the police officer's body. She's next. Something inside Chris has changed. The fear is gone. Only anger remains. He quietly slips out and sets the front door of the house on fire. Chaos erupts inside. As the monsters rush out, Chris starts the police car and slams straight into the house, crashing through the wall at full speed. One of the cannibals is crushed under the vehicle. Now it's face to face. Chris and Jesse against the monsters. The final battle begins. One of them charges at Chris with an axe, but Jesse fires an arrow with all her strength. It pierces through the back of his head. He drops instantly. They fight, fall, bleed, but they don't stop. Jesse grabs an axe and slams it into another cannibal's chest. It falls, but starts getting up again. Like it can't feel pain. Chris realizes, we don't beat them, we end them. He holds a gun with just one bullet left. He grabs Jesse's hand. Let's go. They run outside. Chris aims at the open gas tank of the police car. And bang! A massive explosion. Flames shoot into the ocean of fire. The cannibal screams, lost in the blast. Through smoke and flames, bleeding, exhausted, Chris and Jesse get into the car and drive away. On the way, they pass that same old gas station where it all began. Chris stops the car, walks inside slowly, and stares at the map on the wall. For a few seconds, just stares. Then, he tears it into pieces. He doesn't want anyone else to take that road. The road is the same. The forest is the same. But today, its story has changed. Forever. If you want to see what happens next in this terrifying journey, tell me, are you ready to go back into that forest?